just do my usual thing of waiting to see if anyone actually turns up to this. So I'll give it a few minutes. Except I have fucked it up, so I'm gonna stop it and restart it. So yeah, give me a few. Right, well, let's hope that I've got it working again this time. Looks like I have. Alright, that's better. So now when I minimise it, you'll still see what's in game rather than what's on my desktop here. Right. So I already got 4 people in. Herodian Highlander, Ian Batchelor, all the way from Westcliff. And Mr. Foster. And no surprise, Jimbo 76. Right. Well, I'll give it, say, a few minutes to get a few people watching. I'll start with the usual, warnings, shall we say. I haven't got the 2 monitors, even though I have got a television that's right there, but I haven't got an HDMI connected to it, so I can't use that as a second screen. So I have to keep minimising the game in order to see if there are any questions or anything. The other thing is I'm still having my computer problems. So if this stream suddenly stops for no reason, it's because my PC is shut down. So if that happens, just bear with me for about 5 minutes or so, and I should be back up and running again afterwards. Right, well, I don't exactly expect a huge number of people to be viewing this, so let's get it underway then, I suppose, shall we? So this is the long-awaited beta for fleet carriers. Now, fleet carriers were supposed to be in this game quite some time ago. In fact, when the June update finally comes along and finally introduces them, they will be 18 months late. And that means we can say that, pretty confidently, that they've had somewhere in the region of 2 years or more development. And when you see what has happened with this beta, you may wonder where all this development has gone. And before the beta started, around the time that the live stream that Frontier Developments did to first reveal the fleet carriers, there was already a monumental amount of people who are all complaining about the cost of the fleet carrier being 5 billion. And I was getting a bit pissed off with this because, shock horror, the bulk of it came from people who were in the forums. And the forums, with unerring regularity, always get some new thread coming along which points out that credits are so pointless and so useless and all this that they may as well be scrapped, got rid of. No point keeping them in the game. And you think, well, how many of these people who have suggested this idea of getting rid of credits altogether are also included among those people who are complaining that the cost of a fleet carrier being 5 billion is far too high? I suspect it's quite a few. So it does show the staggering hypocrisy of the Elite Dangerous community, not for the first time. Erodian didn't stay online for very long. Erodian is about the only player I've actually seen from my list in the in the Elite Dangerous who I've also seen actually appear in the beta. Not exactly been a huge number of people who have been quick on the uptake of trying this thing out. I suppose part of the reason is that of all the people who are on my list on in here, in fact, let's bring it up. So of all these people, I only know one of them who can afford a fleet carrier, and that's old Andy Pitkin here. And I remember seeing a post of his in the forum where he was saying he was going to be getting one, but he doesn't usually bother with betas, so I don't expect to see him in the beta here. Though he may want to give it a try. There's no getting away from it. This beta is a fucking nightmare. Since the beta went live, there has been this absolute torrential fucking influx of negative comments, and it is almost entirely justified. What the fuck Frontier Developments were thinking when they came up with this, I will never know. I mean, there are plenty of things about fleet carriers that I do like the sound of. I like the sound of them being far more than just somewhere to store ships and move them around. I like the fact that you can, basically run a mini docking station and outfit it as such. Almost every service that you can get on a docking station or an outpost. Perhaps if I use outpost as an example, it would be a bit more accurate. But just about every single one of them is available on your fleet carrier. There's only two things that aren't. The first is power contacts, no big deal. The second is universal cartographics, which I think is a bit of a fuck up, and I wouldn't be remotely surprised if come Beta 2 next month that will have been sorted out and there will be a universal cartographic station. Whether it's added to the current redemption, whatever it's called, or if it is a standalone module, I don't know, but I suspect it will be there. So, yeah, I think universal contacts is coming. Right, we got some comments here. Mr. Foster, fleet carriers, what a kick in the teeth that is. Well, I've only just got started. Commander Quo, because I think I have 3 ships docked on your carrier. No one's actually done an awful lot on my carrier. Lord Chive, Commander Quo again. 1 docked and 2 stored. Okay. On all accounts, his main account crashes at spinning ship stage. I have a horrible feeling that is what's happening to Erodian, and that's why it keeps coming up that he's connected and then gone offline again within like a minute or so of coming online. So anyway, as that message from Quo will make clear, I already have a fleet carrier. I got mine from the Balante system, and the reason I got it from there was just to see, you know, the million to one chance that the Leon Re 15% discount might extend to fleet carriers. Shock horror, no it doesn't. So fleet carriers are going to be 5 billion no matter where you get them from. Now I'm currently in Dizo, and that is where my fleet carrier is as well. So if anyone wants to log in, then or log into the beta, then that's where you'll find my fleet carrier, along with plenty of others. Yeah, well, let's take a look at the galaxy map, and we'll show you just how many fleet carriers there are in DZO. Yeah, to say that I think the galaxy map needs a bit of work when it comes to showing fleet carriers is a masterpiece of understatement. I mean, look at it all. And the vast majority of these, I think, are not player owned, because DZO is one of the systems where you can actually buy one. So I think a lot of these fleet carriers here are actually unclaimed. Yep. And are just standing around dormant. But I don't think there's no option for me to, not show the all of these bloody fleet carriers everywhere. So if you go to a galaxy map, or a system map rather, where the fleet carriers have been stored, yeah, you've got all of this. And of course it does mean that trying to find, your one, there's mine, the bottomless money pit, so your one gets highlighted. None of the other player ones do. So you're seeing, okay, so this one here, Huntress G53-G6T, that is a player owned one because they've changed the name, so you know that for sure. But all these other ones that just say Drake class carrier, I suspect, none of them have actually been taken by any player. So yeah, the system map is in a bit of a fucking mess, to put it mildly. With regards to the galaxy map, they've changed it slightly insofar as they've changed the colours. So now your bookmarks are all in orange instead of blue. Your stored ships are all in white instead of, red. I don't know why they felt the need to change that. I can only assume that with the paid for expansion that is due out at the end of the year, those colours are needed for pointing out something. I mean, I don't like this new colour scheme with the orange and white, but that's probably just because I'm so used to the old colour scheme, so within no time I probably won't even notice it. The other most obvious change as far as here is in the options when you land, the options for from your landing pad. Now you can refuel or repair or restock your ammo straight away. I do not know why that was deemed necessary. How much effort is it to have just, selected starport services, wait for it to load, and do it as normal? Especially as you can still do all of those things from here. There's your refuel, there's your restock, there's your repair, so it's all still there anyway. But what it means is, instead of just pressing, space, or moving down one and pressing space to go up to return to the surface, you've now got to move You know, it's 2 extra key presses, and the way some people complain about this game, you would think that that is putting a hell of a lot of extra effort. It is, however, making it a bit more long-winded. So yeah, I'm not that keen on this change. It does strike me as being changed for the sake of change. So the reason I am in Shifnal Port here is because I was hoping to find under chemicals some tritium. No, this place doesn't sell it. In fact, so far I haven't found anywhere that sells it. I have had a go at mining some. Let's have a look. If you highlight the character, if you highlight the carrier, you can see the commander's name and info, both his system map and left hand. That's how I found yours. Okay, my one's changed its name recently. You say it wasn't originally called Bottomless Money Pit, but it's an app name, so yeah, I'll take it. No, I completely lost the thread of what I was going to say. Oh yes, right, tritium. So yeah, I haven't found anywhere that sells it. I have mined some from Baran. Yes, like a lot of people, the first thing I did when I got my carrier and finished outfitting it, I decided I would head to Baran. And in fact, let's bring up the galaxy map again, and we'll take a look at Baran. And you will see that, yeah, the idea of bringing your fleet carrier to Baran is not a very original one. There's fucking hundreds of them. Now, Baran is not a system that sells carriers or has carrier services. So, even though none of these have been named, these could all be player owned carriers, and there's a ridiculous number of them. The other thing is that because all of your exploration data has been basically wiped for this beta, when I got here I couldn't select a specific body to orbit, so I could only select to arrive in the system and hope that it put me somewhere close to Baran A2, but it didn't. It put me around Baran B, so I was 102,000 odd light seconds away from the rings. So yeah, my idea of basically having somewhere for people to sell low temperature diamonds, which is the same idea that huge numbers of people have had. Yeah, I wasn't in the most practical of locations to actually do that. It turns out though that that is not necessarily a bad thing, because something that has really pissed off just about everybody who plays this game is that when they added tritium to the ring resources, there's also another one that's been added, one of the metals. I can't remember what it's called now, but I'll have a check in a sec. But yeah, it means that all of the ring hotspots have been recalculated within the game engine. And the old triple overlapping low temperature diamonds hotspot around Baran A2 has gone. So Baran, once this update comes along, is no longer going to be the mining hotspot that it is at the moment. And a lot of people are pissed off about it. I freely admit I'm one of them. Now, it's not that overlapping hotspots are no longer in the game. There are overlapping hotspots around Baran A2 in this, but they're not low temperature diamonds. One is tritium, because I went in and had a bash at mining some of it, and I think the other one was Alexandrite, so it's two different hotspots overlapping each other. And as far as I could see, that was the only overlapping hotspot still in Baran. So yeah, as far as credit farming, Baran will be pretty useless once the update comes along. Let's have a check. Commander Razorlight, Ngalia Green Enterprise has some, last stock was 6,000. So, Tall Enterprise, Ngalia Outpost. Oh god. But no, is it just an outpost? It's not a, well, let's have a look. It's not exactly close, and it's bound to be, yeah. This is another change that's come along. You'll notice I can't even, I don't even have the option, even if it's sort of greyed out or red, so you can't select it. The actual system icon isn't there. Now, what I think it is if a system has been visited or been mapped by someone but you haven't been there, it means that the system layout, for lack of a better word, is known, and therefore it's showing you that there will be other bodies in there, but as you've not been there, you can't see what they are. If no one has been there, then nothing is showing at all, except of course that can't be right, because I'm looking at this because someone's told me there's things there. So yeah, so maybe it says if you've not been there at all, nothing will show up. If you have been there but you haven't bothered mapping it all, then you get the redded out system map. I don't fucking know. Yeah, it's all a bit of a fucking mess. Anyway, the bottom line is I can't get any tritium from this system. How far away was Ngalia again? $290. I might have enough tritium in my carrier to jump there, so I might do that. Right, anyway, let's head up to the surface and we will head towards my carrier, which is, let's do it this way, it's so much easier, which is here. I've already got it selected anyway. So I'm in the Imperial Cutter because this thing has cargo capacity. Hang on, Talseti has tritium. I've got some, and I'm on my way. Okay, well that's handy. Talseti is a lot closer. Talseti I can jump to. Now I've no idea how much any of these stations are actually selling tritium for, but don't tell me, I want to find out first hand. Anyway, yeah, so the Imperial Cutter here, it has a capacity of 659 tons, and at the moment I need 656 tons of tritium to max out the 1,000 that it needs. So now we're in Super Cruise, we get to possibly the thing that I detest the most about this beta. The list of, well, any feature you care to mention within Elite Dangerous that has never at any point been fucked up is already pretty short. And it's now got even shorter, because one of the most basic and obvious and also important features, i.e. the countdown, the timer that tells you how long it's going to take you to get to your destination, that doesn't work properly. It gives you the wrong time. So now, I know it's a known issue, it's not actually meant to do this, but it's another fuck up. So now you have to pretty much guess, because I'm not a maths professor, I haven't got a first from Cambridge University on applied mathematics, so I don't know, or I can't work out the acceleration or the deceleration point from a perpetually changing velocity in relation to the distance from my actual target destination. So I have to guess either that, or we'll just do the whole trip at 75% throttle, so that way we can avoid or we can avoid doing a fucking loop of shame. I mean, it's a calculation, that time, which is the most basic principal function of every microchip that has ever been created. And yet in the hands of Frontier Developments, they can't even do that. I mean, we all know the story of King Midas, and everything he touched turned to gold. In the case of Frontier Developments, everything they touch turns to pure shit. In the hands of Frontier Developments, just a simple calculation, and it can't do it. So according to this, I still have 36 seconds to go, but I'm 0.25 light seconds away. Anyway, we are almost there. We are there. Except it's taking me to the wrong one. Herodian, I can't find DSO. All the system names say null in the galaxy map. Fuck it hell. Let's see what it says on mine. Well, mine is showing, but that has to be a server side fuck up. Okay, so I did select my one, but it sent me to this one. Alright. Anyway, so yeah, that's not mine. Mine is another 13.5 light seconds away. Yeah, it's going well.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
Right, we got any other comments here? We go. I am in Ingalia with 100 ton if you want it. Are you in open? No, I'm not in open, but you don't have to be. The carrier will be in whatever system, regardless of whether you're playing in open, private group, which is what I'm in, or solo. Here we are. So this is my carrier here, the bottomless money pit. So we're approaching from the underside of it. So you can certainly see it's a fair old size. But at the moment, basically the visual aspect of it, being able to see this enormous great ship and say, yeah, that's mine. That's all it has going for it.
Scan detected.
For some reason, I'm constantly forgetting to deploy landing gear when I try and land on these things, so I'll pull them out a bit early this time.
Scan detected.
Right. So there we are. We have landed at the bottomless money pit. So let's take a look at carrier services. Now, what I've done is something that I really have no intention of doing as far as having one of these ships in the game proper. I fitted everything. So I fitted the Redemption Office, the Crew Lounge, the Tritium Depot and the Commodities Market. They are there by default. They're standard standard features. The shipyard, security or secure trading, and your outfitting and your advanced maintenance, they are all modules that you have to add once you've got the basic ship, which just seems... The thing's called a fleet carrier, but its standard loadout means you cannot carry any ships, let alone your entire fleet. Other ships can land on it, but you can't store any there. So you've got to have the shipyard fitted when it comes to actually being able to have ships stored here. I didn't think I was making too great a leap of logic by thinking that a ship called a fleet carrier would possess the ability to store your fleet right from the get-go. No, it doesn't. I mean, on the plus side, when I first saw the thing and I first read that it was going to have 16 landing pads, I thought that meant you could only store 16 ships. And 8 large, 4 medium, 4 small. And it did make me think, well, I'm not too sure about the usefulness of this. But in fact, your stored ships are kept in the shipyard there, so you're always going to have 16 available landing pads. And it means that you can store 40 ships of any size. So even I can store my entire fleet on my fleet carrier. I have 38 ships. So I'm pretty close to maxing it, but I can still do it. What I don't know is that 40 ships per player, or is it 40 ships in total? Because, well, I just found out that Quo has 2 ships stored on here, and I've got 3 of mine here. So my Crite Phantoms here, I put one of my Fer de Lance here, I've got my Type 10 mining ship here, and of course I've got my Imperial Cutter, which is, which I'm already in. So at least you can store a decent number of ships here, even though you can't do it with the default loadout. Let's have a look. What else have we got here in the way of comments? Yoli Gamer Steve, do they still have power play in the game? Yes, they do. Geez, I really disliked that back when I played. I'm not a fan of power play either. I do it purely so that I can get the weapons that they offer. But as soon as I get those weapons, I then just leave them. Jim plays, well, it beggars belief how they broke the Super Cruise countdown. To be honest, it doesn't. It doesn't beg a belief for me. They seem to fuck up everything they do, so it's no surprise that that they've managed to fuck this up. Anyway, so let's take a look at the carrier management. So this is your main screen. Once you've got one of these things and you're trying to sort it out, and let's get straight to the point. The thing that is pissing off everybody who has one of these things, and that is the weekly upkeep. Now, in the reveal video that Frontier Developments did, I think we all suddenly discovered why they kept using still images rather than video footage. The only time you actually saw any video footage throughout that entire pre-recorded stream was when they showed the fleet carrier leaving the system. If you've not seen it, surprise, surprise, it looks identical to when a capital ship leaves a conflict zone. So yeah, it looks exactly the same as what everyone was expecting it to. But in that, there was a screen shot that they showed, which, here we are, it was something like this. And it basically showed, or it gave the impression that he had fitted every single one of the available modules. And his weekly upkeep was showing as 13 million, or something like 13.5 million or something. And I thought, yeah, that's easy to do. 13.5 million, you can do that doing 2 or 3, cargo runs from mission boards. If your reputation is high enough with minor factions in certain stations. I've got plenty where I can do that. So I thought, yeah, that's no problem. So I was okay with the whole idea of weekly upkeeps. Turns out, there's a little bit more than we thought. In fact, there is an awful lot more than we thought. So we have all of these different like modules or whatever that you can fit to your carrier here. Bridge crew, commodity training and tritium depot, they are fitted as standard, and that's why there are no upkeep costs for any of these three. Your initial upkeep cost for your fleet carrier is 10 million, and that covers these three departments. So then you add the refuel station. I don't know why it has to be a separate one. Refuel, repair, and and maybe a shipyard should all be in the same module, if you ask me. But they're not. They're separate modules. Now you notice the refuel station, and that is all it does, is give you the option to refuel your ship. Nothing else. The active, if you've got this utility or this module active, it will cost you 9 million credits per week. And you think, well, hang on, without that refuel station, it's 10 million a week. So adding one module, the refuel station, has nearly doubled the weekly upkeep from 10 million to 19 million. And this thing only lets you refuel. That's all you can do. Okay. So repairs. And again, 9 million per week. So with these two stations here, suddenly our weekly weekly upkeep is now at 28 million. And you're thinking, well, hang on, weekly upkeep, as you can see here, is currently at 44.9 million. So you think, well, okay, that must mean that the rest aren't that expensive. Well, let's go to the armoury. Active upkeep for this is 11 million per week. So that has now brought it up to 39 million, with these having added 3 more modules. 39 million. And then the redemption office, well, active 12 million per week, just this one thing. And suddenly you're thinking, well, hang on, that's brought it up to 51 million, but weekly upkeep here is showing 44.9 million. Why the discrepancy? Why is this running total here showing as being far more than this? Because don't get me wrong, 44.9 million per week is already stupidly high. The trouble is, Elite Dangerous weeks, of course, go from Thursday to Wednesday. And this update, or this beta, started on a Tuesday. It has calculated the weekly update for this particular week from its start to the end of this week, which is Thursday. 2 days. 44,905,796 credits is the upkeep for 2 days. So tomorrow, when the next week starts in this beta, that weekly upkeep goes up, not by a little bit. So let's carry on. Next, the shipyards. Now, bearing in mind, as I've already said, this is a fleet carrier. Its primary fucking function should be somewhere to store your fleet. But without this shipyard, you can't do that. So in order for this vessel to do what its name says it should do, you've got to fit the shipyard. And shock horror, it's the most expensive module of the lot. To buy the shipyard, it costs 520 million. That's just to buy the actual unit, or the module, whatever. And then once you've got it fitted and it's active, your operational expenses, your weekly upkeep for the shipyard alone is 42 million per week. Next one is the outfitting. This is the second most expensive module to get. This particular one, I think, is around 410 million, I think it cost. And then once you've got it and it is active, then the weekly upkeep for this module, your outfitting module alone, is 36 million per week. So just the shipyard and the outfitting alone, that's 98 million every single week. And then the final one is the secure warehouse. I mean, compared to the last two, this is a fucking bargain. This only costs 18 million credits per week. So it is in the region of 144 million credits per week just to keep your fleet carrier operational. That's just your weekly upkeep. You've got to laugh or you'd fucking cry. And during the reveal, the pre-recorded live stream that Frontier Developments did, they said they had done the maths. Well, who the fucking hell was it that they put in charge of doing the maths? Because he could not have fucked it up more. If he actively tried. All right, let's have a look at the comments here. It's 44.9. Yeah, but see, 44.9. That's this current week, which only lasts 2 days. That is just absurd. I mean, it is utterly ridiculous. Now, okay, no one, or at least I think the idea that Frontier Developments had, is that only people with utterly ridiculous amounts of credits were ever going to actually install absolutely everything. Like I said earlier, I have no intention of installing absolutely everything. I didn't intend to install the shipyard because I thought it was just the option to sell ships to other players. I just thought, well, for reasons we'll come into a bit later, I just thought, well, no one's going to fucking use that. So I wasn't going to bother with it. Then I found out you've got to have this thing installed if you want to be able to store your ships. You know, if you want your fleet carrier to actually carry your fleet, you've got to install the shipyard. So, yeah, that is what... so what I think the thinking is, and I use the word thinking in the loosest sense of the term, is that people would set up fleet carriers with very specific, very specific services available. Some people may set it up so that it is just a refuel and repair station. If you are, say, going to be doing exploration, and you know you've got your fleet carrier way out in, you know, heading towards Sagittarius A star or something, then a refuel station and a repair, facility would be pretty handy. Not as handy as having somewhere where people can actually hand in their data, you know, a universal cartographics station, but we haven't got that yet. Yeah, once you've got your refuel, your repair, and if it does come along, your universal cartographic station, that's probably about all you would fit on it. Not that, you know, justifies the fact that it would still be 28 million plus however much a universal cartographics module would cost. It's still 28 million per week. But if you've got your carrier stuck out in the middle of fuck all nowhere, basically you've got two options as far as making credits. Do your own exploration or do mining. 28 million a week to cover that, and they are your only two options. I mean, there's nothing else around you, so you wouldn't be able to do anything else. Unless, of course, you decided to just shove your fleet carrier out there and then bugger off back to the, or either bugger off to Colonia or back to the main populated zone. So other options would be, you know, to have a shipyard and outfitting and set it up purely as somewhere to buy ships and, ships and modules and weapons and what have you. But I mean, so there you go. So that's 108 million per week to set up your running costs to do that. To buy those two modules alone costs nearly 1 billion credits. I mean, at the start of this beta, I had 10.9 billion. I now have 2.7 billion, plus what I've got in the carrier balance here. So I now have, say, 3.8 billion. Started off with 10.9. So just getting this thing up and running has cost me 7.1 billion credits. Okay, so yeah, so I think we've covered, like, you know, the actual, like, various yeah, the various modules that are available to you anyway. Right, so let's go through some more of this. So you start up here with the summary. So we have the capacity here. You have a capacity of 25,000 units, which sounds like a huge amount. In fact, it isn't. And I think the reason it was kept to something that is actually a lot more conservative than it is again to force people to choose, right, we're going to have like a specialist carrier and not one that is just going to offer everything. Because if you had the space to fit all of the modules and still be able to do a shitload of other things as well, then that's what everyone would end up doing. So every fleet carrier would be pretty much the same as the next one, because you've all got, you know, every module fitted and everything else. So they wanted to try and force some variety. So have you know, one carrier that is just for refuel and repair, one carrier that will sell ships and upgrades, one carrier that does fuck all, you know, one carrier that is just the commodities market, and so on and so on. So yeah, your 25,000 units of capacity is nothing like as big as you might think. So I've already got 17% of my capacity taken up with modules and ships. I don't think that ships is referring to... Yes, it is referring to I think the stored vessels, because I haven't got any ships which I am currently selling for very good reason. We'll come to that in a few. Markets... again, we'll come to all of these. So, yeah. I mean, I currently still have 14,218 units of free space, but that's 56%. So I've got fairly close to using up 50% already, and I really haven't done anything with this fucking thing. So then it has, yeah, the list of your available services, and I say I've currently got all of them, but that's just for beta testing. I won't be doing that in the game proper. In fact, I'll be honest with you now, if it stays like this, I will be like the vast majority, and I will not be getting one of these at all. Right, so next, carrier security rating. Well, that's, yeah, we're currently in an alliance system, and we are currently welcome here. If you start doing too many sort of like illegal things or whatever, or you allow people to sell too many stolen goods or whatever, and you're caught doing it, then yeah, your security rating will get worse, and you'll be less welcome within the system. What difference it makes, I don't know. I think it's just the number of security ships that will be flying around your you know, your fleet carrier and scanning you know, the vessels that are coming to and from it. As far as I'm aware, that's the only difference. So you know, it's not that big a deal. And then at the bottom, carrier administration is available in this star system. Some of the things that you can do with your fleet carrier, you can only do if there is carrier administration available. As far as I can tell, that is only available in those systems that also sell fleet carriers. So that's 12 systems in total, and one of them is Colonia. So yeah, not a huge number of them. It does rather make you sort of think twice about moving your carrier, or your fleet carrier, to somewhere that doesn't have the carrier administration. So when I moved this thing to Bahrain, yeah, wasn't wasn't impressed, because there are some things I couldn't do. We'll get to all of these things, as I go through this list. So next is your navigation. And right, my tritium reserves have gone up. Looks like someone has docked here and given us some tritium. So that'll probably be either Erodian or whoever it was just was going to who was it who was telling me about Angalia? It could be, Commander Razorlight. So let's just have a look at the comments here. Lord Jive, no way would I want those weekly costs. I don't play weekly for a start. Yeah, I mean, Frontier Developments have said all along that fleet carriers are not for everyone. That is a masterpiece of understatement. At the moment, I'd say they are not for anyone. But even if they do bring the weekly cost down to something reasonable, let alone something that's, decent, even if they do that, they are certainly not going to be something that everyone would want. I was quite keen on them, and I initially had no problem with the running costs, because with the pre-recorded live stream that they did, it looked like the total running costs with all of your modules fitted was 13 million. I have no problem with that at all. I thought that's easily done, but 140 odd million a week is taking a fucking piss. Right, what else have we got here? It's a fleet carrier. The clue is in the name. It should come with a shipyard as default, for fuck's sake. Totally agree. And that is something that just about everybody is saying on the forums as well. You spent 5 billion on a fleet carrier, and the first thing you see is that it can't carry your fleet. Zontar has arrived. Actually, if you go in game at some point, I got. I need to have a word with you. These carriers, from what I see, are a waste of money. Yeah, that's what everyone is basically saying. I wonder if they are planning on adding a pounds for credits option and need a money sink for people to use. Yeah, well, they keep denying that they would ever do that. I think if they did, that would kill off interest altogether. There are no activities worth the money to do with the carrier, so it's just for show off. So far, that it does seem to be all it has going for it. It's just to say, cool, look at my big ship. Also, paying all these credits, and when jumping, you not even have the best view. You get locked in that. Well, I'll come to that in a few as well. So anyway, we now have some tritium reserves. So what I'm going to do, this is obviously, like I say, the navigation tab. So we'll open the galaxy map. So let's get ready to move this thing. So we were told that there is tritium in Tau Ceti. So Tau Ceti is 119.97 light years away. There's not very many carriers here, which is handy. Now, extraction, agriculture, extraction. Well, I want to be around an extraction site. So I want us to be around Ortiz Moreno City. So let's set the carrier destination. Right. So that is set. So you don't have to wait an hour for the carrier to...
Attention, this carrier has scheduled a hyperspace jump.
Right.
Please conclude any remaining business in this system prior to departure.
Alright, so yeah, you get those alerts constantly during the countdown. Landing pad lockdown starts 5 minutes before the jump is, due to take place. So even though there's an hour countdown, you've got 55 minutes to finish everything you're doing here. If you're going to stay in this system, you've got to launch and bugger off in 55 minutes. If if you are going to hang around and then you change your mind, well, if 5 minutes before the jump happens, tough, you're stuck here. Well, stuck in whatever system we're heading to. So yeah, in this case it's Tau Ceti. So Triton reserves then. So yeah, 538. So cheers to whoever it was who left us some of those. So I'll have 441 after this jump, and then jump capability at 500 light years. I don't know what is going on as far as all these fighting outside. Someone's attacking a beluga. Oh. Right, let's bring that back. So yeah, that's all pretty self-explanatory. A lot of people are complaining about the time it takes for the countdown, and also once you arrive at the next system there's another hour cooldown before you can then jump again. Personally, I don't mind it. It's not brilliant, but I don't really care one way or the other. It's no big deal. So I'm okay with the the sort of hour wait and then the hour cooldown thing. Yeah, that's all right. Next then is the budget. So yeah, you can see here carrier balance is 1,024,000,000 blah blah blah. So that is separate from the actual balance that you yourself have as you're flying around. You can also set aside a certain percentage in order to cover your weekly upkeep costs. But setting it as a percentage is a really stupid idea, because say for example someone sells a commodity to you, they will then take some of your carrier balance because you use that to pay for the commodities that people are selling. So your carrier balance goes down, and therefore of course the value of the percentage you set also goes down. So having a weekly upkeep allocation needs to be a fixed amount, not a percentage that can be affected by whatever items get sold or whatever items you bought which have added more to your carrier balance and whatever. So instead of being a percentage, you should be able to set an actual monetary value. So yeah, I'm not too keen on that. Then next comes the dreaded weekly upkeep. So say for this particular week, because in Elite Dangerous this week consists of 2 days, it's 44,905,796 for 2 days. And this is how it's split up. So 22% is core costs. So that is your carrier with the 3 modules that you get as standard. Accrued costs, that is basically everything that you've bought to add to the thing, whether it be additional modules or whatever. That all goes into the accrued costs. Projected costs, that, well, as it implies, if you've got stuff to sell or if you're buying stuff there, that's how much it's going to take out of your carrier balance. That doesn't get deducted every week because they are really generous like that. And then there's your whole maintenance. It's only 200,000. I've jumped twice. I'm going to jump a third time. And that's no big deal. And that will get all of this gets paid automatically as the next week begins, and it all gets deducted from your carrier balance. It doesn't come from the balance that you are carrying around with you. And finally here we have the service tariff. So if someone refuels, or if someone does any repairs, or they restock their ammo, or if they buy or sell anything from your commodities board, you've got a tariff that you can set. I have set mine to 20%. So it will add 20% to the actual, what would have been the regular cost. Actually, I don't think this applies to commodities boards, but it will add 20% to the cost. So say for example you need to buy what would normally be 100 credits worth of fuel to reload. If you do it from my carrier, it will actually cost you 120. So yeah, that is what that is all about. Now, like I say, your carrier balance is made up of funds that you've transferred from your account that you keep with you. And in order to do that, you have to either make a deposit, or you can withdraw funds from your carrier balance to your to your own personal balance there. Now, when I started this, my intention was, okay, I'm going to transfer just about all of my balance to the carrier, and I would keep about, say, 150 million to myself. So I needed to transfer, well, if you go from my current balance, I need to transfer 2,644,000,000. So here we go. This is as fast as it goes. So I'm sitting here, it's at 50 million. I want to transfer 2 billion. How fucking long is this going to take? And surprise, surprise, again, like an awful lot of people, I just got to the point where I thought, right, you know what, fuck it, I'll just transfer that much. So, how difficult is it to give us the option to type in the amount we want to, deposit? But that's not there. So I just look how painfully slow it is. If you wanted to transfer billions, and let's face it, if you've bought a carrier, the chances are you are going to want to transfer billions. Not least because your fucking weekly upkeep is around 145 million every week. So yeah, you're going to want to transfer a lot of funds in order to keep your carrier balance in the black. So that is just shite. They've got to change that. It's so slow. Right, anyway, next then is commodity trading. Now, this is one area that I was quite interested in, because it can put you in a position where you could quite easily...
Attention, this carrier has scheduled a hyperspace jump. Please conclude any remaining business in this system prior to departure.
Right. So you could set up some sort of personal deal with someone, and say who's on your friends list or is in your squadron or something. So say for example they've been to Boran before the triple LTD hotspots have been removed, and they've mined 100 tons of low temperature diamonds. And let's say that this ship is in Boran, and so the player doing that is thinking, right, they've checked how how much the highest price is, and say it's 130 million, but it's somewhere a long way away, and it's about, say, 350 light years away, which means that they're going to be vulnerable to interdictions any time. And they think, right, well, rather than do that, there's this carrier here, and it would be faster to just go to the carrier and sell on there. Now, at the moment, I am not buying low temperature diamonds, but they could then contact me through the messenger system and say, right, I've got 100 tons of low temperature diamonds. Highest price is 130, or 1.3 million per ton. I don't want to go all that distance. How much will you buy them? Buy them off me for? And let's say I come back with an offer. Okay, I'll buy them for 1 million per ton. Okay, they could have made more money if they went somewhere else, but they think, okay, right, I'll take that. So then you can then set up to trade this commodity. So you can buy, right, so I'll set it so I will buy 100 units, and then, right, I'll set up my buy price. So I've agreed I will buy them at 1 million per ton. Oh, fuck it, here we go again. But this time it's even slower. So, by the time 6 weeks have passed and you finally got it up to the 1 million per ton that you are prepared to buy them for, this player that you've started making this deal with has thought, you know what, I'm just fucking going to this other place and risk getting interdicted. It's a great idea, and it has been ruined by just this one aspect. I mean, it's fine if you're dealing in, commodities that are quite cheap. But how many people are going to be remotely interested in selling stuff that it's only like a few hundred credits per ton? No one's going to bother, well, for a start, no one's going to bother mining it or buying it from a station. No one who has a fleet carrier and therefore has had at least 5 billion of disposable credits is then going to say, right, I'm going to make my fortune back by buying, fucking bio waste at, about 12 credits per ton. No, they want to be buying in decent quantities of the expensive stuff here. I mean, look how long it has taken me to get this buying price up, and it's currently still only, well, it's not even 1/3 of the price that I want to set it at. So again, what is so fucking difficult about setting, being able to just type in the quantity or type in the price instead of sitting here for what feels like a fucking eternity to try and set it, So you give up and you think, well, there's no point me putting this on the on my commodities board, because anyone who sees buying price 377,000 for low temperature diamonds is just going to say fuck off and just leave. So the only thing I've got, Hafnium 178. That's the other new mineable commodity I was mentioning earlier. So yeah, the only thing I've got set up on here so far is tritium, which is actually right up here. There we go. So I went by the galactic average, 41,684. I've no idea if that's a high or a low price. I do get the impression it's not very good. So I will buy, I'm looking to buy 500 units My buy price 41,684. So I apply that. Now currently I don't have any. No one has sold me any. Because I think someone, say whoever it was who stopped here, they just deposited straight into my tritium storage area, which we'll come to later on. Actually, I haven't covered it yet. So yeah, so I think the commodities trading could be great. It could be a good way of being able to do like private deals between you and like either people in your on your friends list or people on the in your squadron, and you can just do it with completely random people as well. It doesn't have to be those two. So I think it could be a good idea, but it just takes so fucking long just to set the price. That's all you're trying to do, and so that needs sorting out. I mean, it's almost there. It's very close. Just that one small fucking area completely ruins it. So we come down to the next one. Well, the next one is the setting up the modules, which I've already got done. So next is secure trading. Now you saw I had that feature added. This is done in exactly the same way as the commodities board. The only difference is this is for stolen goods. I have no interest in dealing with stolen goods on my fleet carrier, so I haven't set it up. But yeah, it's set up in exactly the same way as the commodity trading. So next comes stocking your shipyard and your outfitting. But before we start those, let's have a check on the messages again. Right, let's have a look. Science follows the evidence. Over the 500 light year distance, it's as quick as a stock sidewinder. Actually, it probably takes a lot longer in the fleet carrier than it does with the stock sidewinder, but there you go. Kind of quote, with the ability to fuel scoop and a low price for fuel, there is no reasoning to pay for the refuel module upkeep. No, well, I'll come back to that in a bit, because the whole thing of buying and selling on the fleet carrier is just dead on arrival. So shipyard stock. Now you'll notice I haven't got any ships here to sell, because I had a look at how it's done and I just thought that is fucking shite. Firstly, nothing that requires unlocking can be sold from a fleet carrier. So no Imperial, no Federal and no Alliance ships. Also, no power play modules, no Guardian modules, no tech broker modules of any kind. I actually wish they would add at least the modules, just set it so that you've got to have already unlocked them before you can buy them here. But I just think surely they could implement that. So because one of my initial ideas, as well as having the ship in Boran and buying low temperature diamonds, the other idea I had was to put it somewhere in either Pleiades or in Witch Head, and stock it full of like AX and Guardian modules, so people who flew out there and will have invariably forgotten to equip them with the right modules or whatever, I'll have them, obviously at a bit of a price premium.
Attention, this carrier has scheduled a hyperspace jump. Please conclude any remaining business in this system prior to departure.
But no, I couldn't do that. So, as well as none of the faction-specific ships, I cannot find the fer de lance or the mamba anywhere in these ships, so you can't sell those either. Because I was thinking, right, okay, what I will do, I will stock, say, a couple of anacondas, a couple of pythons, a couple of fer de lance, and a couple of mambas. No, you cannot do that. What you have to do if you are buying shipyard stock is you have these options here. Cargo advance, so you have the type 6, type 7 and type 9. Cargo basic, an adder or a hauler. Combat basic, eagle or vulture. Now some people may have thought, yeah, stocking a few vultures will be handy. No, you have to buy these complete packages. So if you want to stock the vulture, you've also got to stock the eagle, because you can't just buy a couple of these. You have to buy this whole pack. So you don't just buy a couple of vultures, you buy 10 of them, and those 10 vultures come with 20 eagles. Carry on. If you think, right, I want to stock some type 10s, especially if you're in Pleiades or whatever, no, you have to stock 3 of those and 5 killbacks. Who the fuck is flying a killback in this game? It is the most pointless, most useless ship in the entire fucking game. No one's buying them because they are so fucking shite. But if you want to sell 10, or if you want to sell any type 10s, and therefore you've got to buy 3 of them, you've then got to buy 5 killbacks. Explorers. Now the Explorer one on the surface doesn't look too bad, but then you think, right, well, I'll get 3 Asp Explorers, 3 Diamondback Explorers. They're both pretty good exploration ships. But you've got 10 Diamondback Scouts. I mean, the Diamondback Scout is not awful, but it's not brilliant. You're certainly not going to sell 10 of those at the same time that it takes you to sell, say, 3 Asps or 3 Diamondbacks. And then you've got 5 Asp Scouts, which are fucking pointless. So if you buy this pack, you may well end up selling like your 3 Asp Explorers and your 3 Diamondback Explorers, fine. But you are going to be lumbered with 5 Asp Scouts, and, well, maybe you'll sell like 2 Diamondback Scouts, but you've still got 8 of those. But to restock your Asp Explorers and your Diamondbacks, you've got to buy this entire pack again, which means that now you've got your 3 Asp Explorers and your 3 Diamondback Explorers back, but you've now got 18 Diamondbacks and 10 Asp Scouts, all taking up space, all taking up credits, and you're never going to fucking get shot of them. Now, I don't know if this exploit has been fixed or not, but if you have a fleet carrier of your own and you buy in these packs, what I hear people are doing is they are then taking, or they are buying, like, the ships here, so they're buying the Asp Scout, going to the nearest docking station, selling it or replacing it with a Sidewinder, just your bog standard stock Sidewinder, and getting the credits back. Because of course, if you're selling these on your fleet carrier, you've already paid for them, so you're effectively getting this for nothing, I think, if you then buy one yourself from your own stock here. So I think that exploit, though, has already been plugged, so don't try doing that one yet. I don't think it's going to work. So we carry on here, and here we get to about the only one that looks like it will be any good. 3 Anacondas, 4 Crite Phantoms, 4 Crite Mark IIs, 4 Pythons. Well, none of those ships are fucking useless, so that one might work out. But that's over 1 billion. Because you can't just buy, like, you know, a couple of these and a couple of these. You've got to buy 3 Anacondas, 4 Crite Phantoms, 4 Crite Mark IIs, 4 Pythons. And the capacity that this requires is 10,210. So if I buy that, that is nearly doubling the amount of capacity I'm already used up. I'm not going to have much room to get anything else. Next one here. So, you know, so it just goes on and on and on. It needs to have the ability for you to buy whatever quantity and of whatever one type of ship you want. As it stands like this, no one is going to buy in ships and sell them on their fleet carrier. And if this wasn't a good enough reason not to do it, there's another one coming up which I will cover once we've gone through outfitting your stocking up your outfitting. Now this, I have bought some stock because I was in Bahrain for a while. I bought up a load of stuff for people going mining. So I bought the tier 3 here. So I bought all of this. So I have 25 class 4 cargo racks, 40 class 5s, 15 class 6, 10 class 7, 5 class 8. Now the option there to sell stock for 5 million.
Carrier crews have begun preliminary carrier checks. A hyperspace jump is pending.
Right, so I could sell stock there 5 million or 5.5 million. That is only a fraction of how much it costs to buy it in. And because I have bought this one here and nobody has bought anything off me, I don't have the option to refill stock, and I can't buy any of the tier 2 or any of the tier 1. I've only just noticed that. But anyway, again, so with your analytical devices, you see all of this lot here, and you have to buy all of this. So you get 35 pulse wave analyzers, 10 detailed surface scanners, 150 class 1 sensors. And so on and so on, and you can't then choose, right, all of these sensors I'll get. Oh well, you get 8. You get 5 of the class C's. These are the class 8 ones. So you get 5 of the C rated, 10 D rated, and 15 E rated. Well, people want A, and people want A rated. So here we go. We go up to tier 3, which costs 734 million to buy in. So now you get 50 of these, 50 of these, 55 class 1, 70 class 2, your sensors, and so on and so on, and 30 class 8s in order to get the 5 A-rated ones that you want to begin with, and 10 A-rated 7s. So these are the parts you want, but to get your 10 A-rated class 7s, you've got 20 B-rated and 25 C-rated, and you have to get those. You can't pick and choose. The anti-Xeno stuff, so shut down field neutralizer, AX missile rack, but it doesn't actually say what class they are. Okay, so it does on the main picture there, sorry. Okay, so class 2 fixed, Class 2, okay, they're both showing as Class 2 fixed. I'm assuming that should actually be either Class 2 fixed and Class 2 turret, or Class 2 fixed, Class 3 fixed. Okay, so the icons there aren't helping you at all. So Tier 2 and Tier 3. So Tier 3, you're only getting Class 3s. 25, I'm assuming they're fixed, and I'm assuming these are turreted ones, and 10 turreted ones. But again, you've got to get all of this. 45 Xeno scanners, 15 AX multi-cannons, Class 3 fixed, and 10 Class 3 turrets. And 75 shut down field neutralizers. How many of these fucking things do they think we're going to sell? And it carries on all the way through. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. I mean, you know, yes, being able to sell, you know, Class 7 shield cell banks, yeah, fucking great. No idea what rating they are, because it's now not showing whether they are A, B, C, or what. But if you want to sell, like, you know, Class 7s and Class 6s, which are probably the two classes that most people will end up getting, let's assume that this is a 6A, you get 20 of those, but you've got 25 Bs, 30 Cs. And you have, you know, 70 Class 1 shield cell banks. Who the fuck uses Class 1 shield cell banks? So, buying in stock, you've got to buy it in bulk. I'll just show you the other things I got. So I got Olympic controllers. I think I only got, I only got the Tier 1, because I don't know anybody who buys Class 7s, and yet I'm still stuck with 5 of them here, but they're 7E. And I didn't think it through very much, because I've got Class 5, you know, Olympic controllers. Most people I know use 5 and 3 and occasionally 1, but you collect Olympics, you got Class 5, but they're Class 5E. Well, no one wants them, they want 5A. So if I wanted to get 5A, I have to buy, okay, so I could have bought the Tier 2, but I get 10 5A, and then I'm lumped with all this other crap that no one wants. 70, you know, fucking B, C, D, E, which people aren't going to bother buying. Now with the decontamination limpets, it's not such an issue, because they're always E rated. And yeah, same with the recon limpet and the research limpet. In fact, the research limpets, they're always just Class 1E. But everything, it's always, you know, in order to buy in the stuff you want, you've got to sell, well, you've got to also buy in a load of the shit that you don't want. So yeah, I bought in the mining tools, so yeah, the abrasion blasters, seismic charge, subsurface, and the mining laser. So yeah, I think, was it Tier 3 I bought in? Yeah. And then mining utilities, so yeah, I wanted the refineries. So again, even with the Class 4 refinery, you know, 4C at Tier 1, so again, I had to buy in Tier 2, so I finally get 25 Class 4As, but it also means I'm then lumbered with 35 Bs and 40 Cs, which I don't want, and no one is going to buy. Because if you're outfitting a mining ship and you want a Class 4 refinery, you're going to go for a Class A. As you can see, there's plenty of other stuff that you can all buy in, but it's all buying in bulk. And the thing is,
Attention, this carrier has scheduled a hyperspace jump. Please conclude any remaining business in this system prior to departure.
the thing is, even if you could buy them in individually and just buy in the parts you want, you still have no reason to actually do so, because when you're buying in these packs and that, as far as I can tell, you're paying the full retail price. So if you were to sell them at exactly the same price as you bought them in, you're selling them at the same price as every other station that's out there. So why would anyone come to you in order to buy them? But actually it gets worse than that, because I am far from the only player who only ever buys his ships and his upgrades from Leon Respace. So I am getting them at a 15% discount. And yet, if you are going to buy them from a fleet carrier, you don't get that 15% discount. You have to pay them at the full price plus whatever their service tariff is. So the option that I am currently giving players when it comes to buying like their cargo racks and their mining tools is, right, what do you want to do? Do you want to buy them from Leon Respace and pay 15% less than the regular price, or are you going to buy them from me and pay 20% more than the regular price? No one, not even the most brain dead of players, is going to even consider it. So why even bother? There is no point. Now, some can counter that by saying, well, if you've got your, your fleet carrier way out into, unexplored space or whatever, then, if people want to get certain, items, they will be prepared to pay the premium. Well, I counter that with how many people who are currently doing exploration trips suddenly think, you know what, I badly need a Class 2 beam laser now. Or oh, fucking hell, I've got to get some mining equipment now. Why? Oh, my shield generator, yeah, I've got to change that now that I'm 30,000 light years away from the populated zone. This is now the time where I really have to get a new 7D shield generator. So no, they're not. So at no point, no matter where you are in the fucking Milky Way, at no point does the ability to sell stuff from your carrier ever become useful or worth doing. Let's have another look at the comments here. Zonta, have you checked No Man's Sky recently? No. There's a good reason for that. Yeah, I'll come back to that some other time. But yeah, I haven't played No Man's Sky for a while because there's a major bug with it and it's affecting me. Right, Jesus Deuce. Even Star Citizen is looking rather enticing at the moment. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, Star Citizen is never coming out, so. Jim plays. Maybe go to Hutton Orbital and sell the Anaconda at a 100% discount. I mean, going to Hutton Orbital in a fleet carrier is easy. So there you go. There's one useful feature from the fleet carrier. You can get the Hutton Orbital in one jump.
This carrier has scheduled a hyperspace jump. Please conclude any remaining business in
Science follows the evidence. You're certainly showing this to be more of a mess than I originally thought it was. See, that's the problem. it when it was first announced and they showed us it in the their pre-recorded live stream, I thought it looked great. And then you get in and actually start trying it out, and you realise it is one almighty clusterfuck. This looks better than Rainbow Islands at least. Well, yeah, but I mean, disemboweling yourself looks better than Rainbow Islands. So, right. So if I bought a ship from your carrier and then A-rated the modules, are you lumbered with the E-rated crap that I exchanged? Yes. That all gets stored on my in my hold or whatever. Zontar, NMS is beautiful now with living ships and mech exo. I think No Man's Sky looks fantastic now. That living ship looks fucking amazing. And the exo mech, well, I mean, I'm a big fan of the Mech Warrior games, so yeah, as soon as I saw that, I thought it was great. But yeah, I've got a serious problem with No Man's Sky. And yeah, it just means that I'm currently avoiding it. But I thought it looked, I was a big fan of No Man's Sky until this bug came along. Right now, we have Andy Pipkin has arrived. Now, I mentioned you earlier. You're the only other person I know who can afford a fleet carrier. But I mean, if you have a look at the thing, I mean, you wouldn't want to. No one wants to. Yeah, I can't save my game in No Man's Sky, so that's a non-starter for me. Well, I've been doing a bit of digging about that. You are far from the only person who has that problem. And now, you can add me to that list. I now have that issue. The only difference is the main save game that I use, that does work. If I use any of the other 4 save game slots, they all do exactly the same problem that you have. Doesn't matter where you save it. If you then reload it next time, it starts the game again from the very beginning. And it also doesn't matter what game mode I choose, whether it's permadeath, survival, or whatever. The next time you load it up, it's there showing as a standard game, and it's a standard game that starts right from the very beginning. So yeah, I've got that problem as well, and so have a hell of a lot of other people. And Hello Games are not doing themselves any favours by almost ignoring it. Right, where are we now? Yeah, I got around 7.6 billion. If you have a look at this playthrough from the start, if you really want to, I have currently spent 7.1 billion on this fucking fleet carrier I've got. So even though to buy the fleet carrier initially is 5 billion, yeah, you're looking at a spend of over 7 billion to get it sort of up and running. So that 7.6 billion that you've got will be swallowed up in no time. And for what? Okay, let's come back into the game here. We're almost finished going through these fleet, the carrier management options. So the next one is your fleet carrier livery, but if you click on that, you'll see, yeah, there's none in there at the moment. So that is all there is to show there. And then there's your settings. So these are all pretty standard. Docking access you can set to either just your squadron, just your friends, squadron and friends, or no one at all, or everyone, which is what I've got it at. So anyone can dock at my fleet carrier. Notorious commander access. So if your notoriety is more than 0, you can set it so that people can still dock there with that, or as I've done, no. If your notoriety is anything other than 0, you can't dock here. Set current activity, yeah, so you can basically set to activity. Do you want to see what that does? It changes this banner. That's all it does. And then yes, the next one is to decommission fleet carrier, because of course the other thing that people were really pissed off about is the fact that you can get into debt with this thing, and eventually your fleet carrier will be decommissioned and sold off as scrap if that does happen. So if you don't keep up with your weekly upkeep of 140 something million per week, then once you've been in debt for a while, I mean, admittedly, it does take quite a while for it to get to the point where your fleet carrier is sold off for scrap. But by which time you probably have debts running into billions. And when you decommission your fleet carrier, you only get a percentage back of how much you've spent. So you're going to lose money whether you sell your fleet carrier willingly, and you'll lose even more if you sell it unwillingly. In fact, as far as some videos have shown, I don't quite know how they found this out, but they've got it so that if you've had your carrier for more than 3 months, you will only get back 33% of the value of it. So you'll lose 2/3 of your money if you then decommission it after 3 months, or if it gets sold off for scrap after 3 months. It's not looking good, is it? Right, so well, I mean, the shipyard operates just the same as any other. So so there's my stored ships there. You can store up to 40, so decent enough. Right, so 10 minutes before all the ships or all the landing pads are basically taken out of action, ready for the jump. The redemption office, this works pretty much like the I can't remember the fucking name of it now, interstellar factors, that's it. So it's for handing in combat bonds, trade dividends if you're in with a wingmate, intel packages, codex discoveries, and bounties. Oh, okay, I was just about to say, what about combat bonds? Yeah, that's the top one. Again, a percentage is taken off that. I mean, it's the standard percentage as it would be from interstellar factors, and also an additional amount is taken off of the fleet carrier owner's tariff. So if you were to hand in any of these vouchers on my ship, you will lose 25% of the value of them. So you only get 3/4 of however much you had made. So yeah, you're really going to want to do that at my carrier, aren't you? Or anyone else's. So next is the tritium depot. So this is where this is where your tritium is stored. It's basically your fuel tank. So my fuel capacity is currently at 538. So once again, cheers to whoever it was who donated the tritium. So you can store up to 1,000, and I can currently jump and do a maximum maximum distance. Not that I'm doing so. We're only jumping, I think it's about 200. So to donate tritium, if you've got tritium in your ship's cargo bay, this is how you would do it. So yeah, all very simple. I suspect.
Attention, this carrier has scheduled a hyperspace jump. Please conclude any remaining business in this system prior to departure.
I suspect the majority of people will probably just go to the commodities market and sell tritium rather than just give it away. You know, obviously in the beta it doesn't fucking matter, but you know, in the main game, yeah, they'll sell it rather than you just, you know, give it up. So it's largely going to only be the carrier owner who will actually do the donating. So then the secure trading, I said that's the for buying and selling stolen goods. So even though I've got this one fitted, I haven't set up any you know, any commodities that I want because I'm not interested in buying stolen gear. The commodities market I've already shown, so yeah, at the moment the only thing I'm buying is tritium. And like I say, I have no idea if that price, this should be go again, so yeah, I will buy it for 41,684 if anyone has any. And I've only set that because, well, at the time that was the galactic average. In fact, the galactic average has dropped down a bit now. But I've no idea how that price compares with the price at docking stations. But it looks like we'll be finding out in how long? Where's the countdown gone? I don't know where the fuck the countdown is, but anyway, we'll find out soon anyway. And then lastly here, well, the carrier management, what I've already been going through. So the only other options then is your outfitting, your livery, which, you know, that's your ship livery, which okay, yeah, I've got to wait for it to actually move down here before I can actually see it. And then when it does eventually appear, it is just, you know, buying the yeah, liveries from you know, with your arcs. You don't get any arcs in the beta, so that's why it was all blank and everything. And then there's your maintenance. Now your maintenance,
Carrier jump sequence is underway. Lockdown begins in 5 minutes.
yeah, so your maintenance is done quite differently in carriers using the like, you know, the interface here. So your structural repairs, you can do everything individually, or in your internal repairs you can do it all individually, and same with your external modules, restocking hardpoints, restocking vehicles, your hangars, your limpets, and to refuel. So you got all of these options here, or you could just click repair all and do it all in one go. So although it looks quite fancy and impressive and all that, you do sort of think, well, what's the point if I just click one button and do it all? So this one, yeah, is your remote workshop. That's if you're doing, you know, engineering mods and that. So then the outfitting, yeah, so it's just the same as anywhere else. Trouble is, if we go to browse shop, yeah, so you can see all I've got is my mining gear. So yeah, if you want to do anything that's not mining, this is not the ship to you know, well, this is not the carrier to come to. I'm going to go back up on the surface so that then when the lockdown begins, you'll see all of the you know, landing pads moving down. Don't expect the actual jump sequence to look impressive though, because you don't see it. But yeah, there we are. That is the fleet carrier. So I'll also quickly show, once you've got a fleet carrier, you can get the carrier management option here, and yeah, you're doing it all basically remotely, so you can you know, go through everything again, but you are, I think, limited in what you can and can't do. And also, if you're not in a system that has the carrier services, you can't buy in any additional stock for your your outfitting or your outfitting or your shipyard. So your fleet carrier has to be in a system with the stock there if you're going to be doing that. So we've got 5 minutes before we are due to launch. Before we're due to jump for Tower Ceti. Now I would have thought by now all of the maybe it's 4 minutes that the lockdown begins. Right, well, we've got a few seconds before that. Yeah, here we go. Or not. Oh, no, it's another, I don't know if that's a player or... Oh yes. One Commander Herodian in his Anaconda there. Well, that's the first time I've actually seen anyone on the carrier here. Hang on. Oh, right, I completely missed that where it says all the carriers are all called null as well. Which one's yours? Well, that must mean then. There we are. Hurry up, lad. Yeah. For some reason, I always thought you were from Liverpool, but aren't you Geordie or something? I don't know. That, yeah, that orca. Well, that suggests to me that the landing pads are all... There we go, yeah. So carrier services have been temporarily suspended. That's because we're about to jump. Oh, Durham, okay, so yeah. Close to Newcastle. And that's it. All the ships are now getting brought inside. And all landing pads now are offline. So now no one who's coming along here will be able to land on the carrier at all. Let's just have another look at the comments here. Oh, No Man's Sky, right. I don't have any permadeath option at start. Okay, just continue game and load save. Right, here we go. The trading tag also shows in the system outline. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, good point. Yeah. So if you look in the system act there, you'll see what the primary role for each of the carriers is, and yeah, whatever I've selected there, that will come up. So yeah, it will come up as a trader. It's on time. Back to No Man's Sky. The only bug I noticed is that I can go through some exocrafts. I mean, I've come up against quite a few bugs in No Man's Sky, but none of them have been as game killing as this one, where it basically corrupts your save every time you exit it. So yeah, that if I didn't have that issue, I would still be playing it. I still like the game, and I think the new stuff, you know, the living ship, that new exocraft look fantastic, and I'd really want to be carrying on playing it. But with that game killing bug there, it's not doing it. Right, Peter, I know I keep saying that name wrong, but so if I want my fleet on my fleet carrier, I need to buy one with the most expensive modules. Shipyard, which is 150 mil plus. Yeah, the shipyard it's the most expensive module to buy. So it costs 500 and I think it's like 520 million to buy, and its upkeep costs are 46 million per week on top of the existing costs. So yeah, your costs will be 56 million if you have just the carrier with a shipyard. So here we go. We are now jumping, and yeah. You can hear it, but this is all you see. So you can hear we're now going through hyperspace. Emerging in Taoseti. Now, if you can remember, you know, back an hour ago when I set the actually set the course. I can't select it at the moment. Here we go. Right, so we're now here. I set it for us to be around this docking station here, and it's put us here. So we're around Taoseti 4. That's not where I wanted to go. In fact, by the looks of it, we're fucking... I don't know, that's from the distance from the arrival point. So yeah, we're orbiting this planet, but we've got a few stations we can take a look at. So we'll have a look for an extraction one. Looks like, okay, so everywhere except Gilmore Orbital. So let's have a look at where the, right, so Oritz Marino City, that's the nearest one. Ortiz Marino City, I should say. Let's hope they've got some there anyway. So let's head back to the surface. There we are. So it looks like Herodian has just buggered off. So let's head to that docking station and see if they actually have some tritium there. Press the right fucking key.
Launch successful.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
I wonder, yes it is. Ah, so he's got at least one other ship stored on my carrier anyway. I'm sure he was in an Anaconda when we left. Now, one thing I was going to do in this live stream was dock at someone else's, oh, don't say those words, it makes you sound like Duncan Norvell. Yeah, I was going to dock at someone else's fleet carrier, but yeah, I don't know if I will. Well, I'm sure it won't take long just to dock at someone else's and see what they got. I'm not going to give them any of my tritium though. I want that for myself. Right, while we're on the way, let's see if right, let's see what other comments we've got. Right, Zontar again. Reinstall the game. This is back to No Man's Sky. I think just about everybody has got it on Steam. I don't think it matters if you've got it on Steam or GOG. The problem still affects it. Pro miners will be joining Fuel Rats. I wonder if Fuel Rats will actually extend their offer to people who need who need tritium for their fleet carriers. What we got here? I'm pretty sure if you set your character to accept squadron and friends, you need to be a friend and in the squadron. It's not either. I'm not sure about that. I think it's I think it is either or. I don't know if it's both. I mean, the chances are I'm never going to find out anyway, because I can't think of anyone who's on my friends list. Or, well, actually, I can't think of anyone who still plays the game who is on my friends list but not in my squadron. So, but I mean, I'll just keep it on anyway, just let anyone dock there. Thank you. This was the closest docking station. Okay. Right, where are we? Looking on the comments again. Alrighty, if there's one good thing that will come out of this beta, hang on, I'm about to do the fucking loop of shame, aren't I? No, I'm not. I'll wait till I've docked before I'll have a look at the comments. So I think, to sum up, I have never seen any of the betas get such a response as this one has had, but as far as I can tell, it's entirely justified. It has the potential, there is no doubt about it. It has the potential to be something really impressive. And they have managed to fuck up just about every single aspect of it.
Lima Uniform Kilo. We are happy to have you, Commander. Please note that all station services are at your disposal. Request approved. Please head directly for Bay 09er.
Why does it always give me either 09 or 39 or 32? All the fucking pads I hate.
Landing gear deployed.
Right, so let's see if this place has any tritium.
Engaging docking restraints. Greetings, Commander.
Yes, it's got plenty of them, and their price is lower than I thought it would be. So it's 41,142. So, well, I'm not going to need right, so to fill up my hold, it is, well, a shade under 27 million.
Cargo hold at maximum capacity.
I mean, it really is a bottomless money pit, isn't it? Right, let's here we are. So bottomless money pit. Well, let's just just go back. Now what I'll do, because I'm going on the fairly safe assumption that Herodian is doing the same thing. So what I shall do, I'll let him sell all of his, or donate all of his, whatever it is he's going to do. So then we'll see how much is needed from mine in order to max out the capacity. It can hold 1,000. So I mean, I'm assuming, yeah, bloody hell, Herodian don't hang around.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3.
Might get crap back quicker than me. I'm like twat chasing. Well, yeah, that was me though on the way out. Actually, that's the point. There's alright, there's a Type 10 Defender around. And alright, someone's just looking at me. It says Philbo, who's not on the contacts list. And still not. I mean, because I'm in a cutter, it will be either a Type 10 or an Anaconda or a Fer-de-Lance or a Mamba. That's all it will be. But there's still no sign of it, so fuck him. It's that Dan Simmons, he wants my tritium. He's only in a Type 10, they're fucking easy. Oh, on there's old Philbo here, so he's a Mamba. They are a pain in the arse to take out when you're in something that moves as slowly as this thing. Mind you, I do have a strategy for taking out Mambas and Fer-de-Lance when you're in a cutter, which is to simply just, I'm in a cutter with pulse lasers. Oh, okay. Actually, mine is has a few pulse lasers. Well, it has 2. Everything else, though, yeah, 2 beam lasers and 3 plasma accelerators. So, yeah, my strategy for dealing with Mambas and Fer-de-Lance when you're in a cutter is to set your speed to 0 and just let them keep coming towards you. The chances are you will destroy them long before they've even taken your shields down. I mean, my cutter only has yeah, class 6 shield, so, well, this cutter does anyway. My other cutter has a class 8. Anyway, we are a damn sight closer than 1 minute 17 to the carrier again. I don't know if that was some rubber banding there. Fucking hell. But I'll submit anyway and okay, Mr. Elite Member.
Warning. Thermal attack. Gaining heat. Under attack.
So my beams and my pulse lasers are turrets. So they will just keep blasting away. Yeah, he's got how the fuck did I miss? Oh, he's getting further away. Let's go and catch up with him. So manoeuvrable. If I had the Type 10 coming after me, that'd be a different matter, that'd be no problem. But no, I got this fucking member instead. like that too much.
Target shields offline.
This means he'll probably run fairly soon. Oh, slow down again. That'll just come with right hole again.
Under attack.
What was that Rodian was saying about I will probably get there before him?
Frame shift charge.
Oh, there we go, yeah, he fucking ran after that. Still been taking him out before he jumps. Without like actually get the aim right. Oh, fucking, how did I miss? Oh, well, don't matter anyway. The trouble is, this now means he will want to interdict me again. And he will have full shields and full armour. Because the game is that well written. Let's just make sure that the weapons are fully charged. Right, let's
Frame
drop her off.
shift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Now this stream has gone on a bit longer than I planned. It was only going to be 2 hours. So I'll end it with a sort of a request. I'm still quite keen on doing a 4-player wing. I've never been in a 4-player wing. I've mentioned this idea a few times. I've got one person who is interested, that is Commander Jimbo 76, and I suspect that old Zontar, Commander Supreme Thor, he might be interested as well, because a couple of days before I did left for my exploration trip, he did message me saying that he was interested in taking part in a video. So that's one definite and one possible, so I need one more. And what we're going to be doing is either heading to a conflict zone or taking on Thargoids. Now, if we're taking on Thargoids, that will be, you know, take your biggest AX ship, your most powerful AX ship, and yeah, we'll do the business. Because I would want to be going after basilisks, and if we prove to be any good, then maybe even try taking on Medusa. If we do conflict zones, I want it medium and small ships only. Now, Jimbo 76 will be taking a medium. I will definitely take a small. So that leaves one player with a medium and one player with a small. What kept you? Some fucker in a mamba. Right, so we will now take a look at the carrier services. And let's see how much tritium we got. So we now have 441. So yeah, Erodian has definitely put some in there. So if I now donate what I've got, it says 559. Okay, that's the most I can donate, so I'll put that in. There we go. So current fuel is now maxed, and I still have some tritium left. How much do I have left? 97. So I can go to my commodities market and sell it to myself. So yeah, I'll get back 4,400,000 43,348, but that comes from my carrier balance. So I've not actually made any money. What I'm basically doing is, okay, your transaction cancelled, commodity no longer required. Okay, does that mean he's now sold a load as well? Oh yes, right, there's nothing there. Okay, well in that case what I can do is go to the transfer and I can get my tritium, select that. I could just select transfer all to carrier and confirm. Right, so now I don't have any on my I don't have any on this ship. It's now stored on the carrier, and if I can remember where we go to actually find that. But right, where the fucking hell is it? Secure trading, no. Commodity trading. See, it says all-time trade profit 0, so it's saying I haven't made anything from it. But yeah, anyway, yeah, somewhere here it will say that I have my tritium stored somewhere. Here you can see, yes, we're not in a carrier, administration system now, so I can't adjust my shipyard stock. I can't buy any, ships to sell, and all I can do as far as the outfitting stock is just go through what I've already got here. I can't buy any more in. No surprise. So my tritium depot, so yeah, that is full. But once I've used some of it, I could then go to the inventory, go to transfer, and yeah, see it's showing there I have 597 tritium on the carrier. So if need be, I can then transfer some of that over to back to my ship here if I think, well, I might as well sell some of it off, or once I've used some tritium in a jump, I can then transfer this 597 surplus back into the tritium storage area, the tritium depot here, but that is currently at its maximum capacity. So now I can do 2 jumps of 500 light years, no problem. Cool. I have more than I started with now, in fact more than I can hold. Don't understand. Okay, yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going on there. I know, maybe take a screenshot or something and show it, because yeah, so I'm assuming you sold some tritium to my why do I keep losing? Yeah, my commodities board. So I assume you sold 500 here, because suddenly this is now gone. In fact, what I'll do, I'll set up another one. So, right, where is it? Tritium. We'll buy. We'll keep it here, but this time I'll set it so I'll buy. Okay, we'll buy 1700. Alright, there we go. Now it's saying there's 597. That's the amount I've put into the storage there. So the fact that there's 597 already there, that's irrelevant. All that's doing is taking up capacity. But I will now buy in, if we go to the commodities market, go to sell, yeah, see the demand is 1700, so I will now buy in another 1700. But yeah, what the fuck happened there, which meant that Erodian's, I don't know how much he bought, but yes, it sounds like after selling it to my carrier, he's now somehow ended up with even more than he had to start with, and it's more than his ship is supposed to be able to hold. So yeah, I think Elite Dangerous fuck up is the best explanation for that one. Anyway, let's get back to the comments here. Right. Bookmark the carrier. Hang on. Right. I bookmarked the carrier. Sadly, the bookmark hasn't moved with the carrier. It's a shame. It'd be handy if it did. It would be more than handy if it did. But yeah, I'd have thought that would have had. I'd have thought that would have been something, a pretty basic function. So that seems a bit ridiculous that it's not moving. Peter, I'm not in your squadron. Oh, that's the point. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, so Commander Andy Pipkin is not in my squadron, but he is on my friends list. I sent that squadron message ages ago, pretty much when you mentioned it on stream. It's taken ages to get to you. The in-game messenger is always the thing that constantly fucks up when you know, whenever there's an update or a patch or anything, the messenger always goes wrong. Wiser, one has to ask, will fleet carriers have more purpose when the next era update releases? I can't have much less of a purpose at the moment. Whatever happened to those support ships? The support ships idea got dropped. So yeah, I'm not that sorry about it. I mean, as far as I was concerned, it was just something else that was going to fuck up. So yeah, I don't mind that the support ships are not there. So basically they left that idea, instead gain special modules as upgrades for your basic carrier. There you go. Any possibility more models of carrier will arrive? I suspect it will be like ship kits that you get, you buy with ARCs, and it will give you your carrier a different sort of like physical appearance. Science follows the evidence. No more dropping speed at 7 now. When you hit 7, you're already 1 minute again and ready to disengage. Yeah, the timer is just completely bollocksed up. So at the moment you're having to guess. In this beta. Oh, okay. You're thinking that more carrier models will appear in the beta? No. This one is going to be it. We can't even get more than one SRV model. Yeah, that's a sore point if ever there was one. Have you had problems navigating the UI? The input key to navigate doesn't work, and instead I have to change the ships to navigate the UI again. I've not had any problems like that. I mean, navigating the UI has been okay for me. So yeah, I'll do a 4-player. Alright, this is, yeah, I'll do 4-player wing. Easter holiday is coming, so I have the free time. Problem is I live in Australia, so yeah, setting appropriate time may be a problem. I remember there was a couple of, actually it was more than a couple, it was a fair few live streams back. I was trying to guess where you were from, and I guessed America because I got all my time zones completely fucked up. Yeah, it was obvious you weren't America, and then I thought you were New Zealand, so I didn't know you were actually Australian. Yeah, time frame, with you being Australia could be tricky, but I'm sure we can sort something out. So Tritium depot on previous screen. Not sure what that's referring to. Alright, game crash, now he has nothing. Fucking hell. So mind you, you did sell all of your tritium, right? So you should have nothing in there. So maybe it's just the display within the inventory wasn't updating quickly enough or something. I don't fucking know. I'm trying to like second guess, Frontier Development's bugs. That's a pretty thankless task at the best of times. You probably, well, that's a big assumption to make when it comes to my predictions. You've seen in plenty of my videos how good my powers of prediction are. Anyway, alright, this has been going on now for 2.5 hours, which I think is quite long enough. So that that is fleet carriers. It is one almighty fuck up. The frustrating thing is, it looks like they are actually that far away from it being something, actually worth doing and something worth having. But the big problem is, big problems. Firstly, this ludicrous weekly upkeep. Mine has now gone up. I think that's because I've put some other commodities on board or something. So just storing commodities has increased my weekly upkeep. Okay. Actually, no, I'll tell you, I know what it is. It's because I did that additional jump, isn't it? Yeah, the whole maintenance has gone up to 300,000. So yeah, that's it. So the weekly upkeep for the modules is still the same. But yeah, the whole maintenance went up by another 100,000. So it looks like the whole maintenance just goes up 100,000 per jump, which really that's fuck all. Anything that's in the hundreds of thousands or lower is just yeah. So yeah, the two biggest problems by a fucking mile are the ridiculous weekly upkeep costs. They have got to reduce that. I mean, your shipyard having 42 million in operational expenses per week is just ridiculous. And you have to have that if you want your fleet carrier to actually carry out the basic function that it's supposed to do. And the ship's called fleet carrier, for fuck's sake. So yeah, you've got to have that. So these costs have to come down. And the other thing is you've got to be able to buy in, whether it's ships or outfitting. You need to be able to buy in exactly what you want, even if it's, say, these 5 units, but 5 units of the class and the rating you want. So say you want class 8 and you want 8A, you have to buy in 5 units of that. That I could put up with, but the fact that you've then got to buy in all this other shit as well that you know full well no one is going to touch. So you're taking up space, it's taking up credits, and you know that you won't be able to get rid of them. No one's going to buy the fucking things. And then you're paying full retail price for everything you buy in. So if someone does buy it, well, firstly, you are only going to make, in my case, I am only going to make 20% on anything that I sell. And secondly, no one is going to, when they're given the choice, shall I go to Leon Re and save 15% on everything, or shall I go to Lukozer's fleet carrier and pay 20% on top of the full asking price? Oh, that's a real tough one. So they've got to implement a way where you can buy in stock at a wholesale price and buy in the modules that you want and at the grade that you want. Oh, and maybe give us the chance to sell, tech broker items as well. Obviously, you can only sell them to players who have unlocked them. You can't just sell them to anybody, but give us the chance to sell them. That would be more than handy. So, yeah, it could be good. There is sort of the potential for it to be good, but it's currently a long way short of being anything other than, cool, look at my wonderful big ship, because in every other way it's just shite. Right, so this stream has been going on for long enough now. We'll just have one last look at the comments. Why is it 2 years wait? Yeah, it was worth it. I mean, this is what we got after 2 years of development, 18 months late, and this is, fucking, they have got to sort that out. Children of Raxler aren't happy. Believe me, they are far from being the only ones. Tritium and upkeep, two problems. I mean, the tritium costs, well, maybe make it so that you can mine it at half decent qualities, but I did a bit of tritium mining, and I think I was mining for about 40 minutes or so, so not particularly long, and I only got about 35, so yeah. No cartographics on board either. That has definitely got to be sorted out. It's ludicrous that they've not got that on here. That has to come along. Only friends who feel sorry for you are going to sell your carrier on the station. Yeah, and even then, especially if it's someone like me, I don't. I will not be saying, right, okay, you're on my friends list or you're in the squadron, you've now got to buy or sell everything you get on my carrier. No, I don't give a toss. In fact, I'd be saying, why the fuck are you buying this from me when you could go to somewhere like Diaguandri and get it a hell of a lot cheaper? So, but you do know there will be players out there who will be like that. They'll be saying, right, okay, all of you in your squadron, you're coming now and you're going to be buying everything from my fleet carrier and blah fucking blah and all. So, Racy, thanks for the stream, Chris. Great, but not going to finish with China Minor there. No, as tempting as it is, I'll resist being able to, finish with China Minor. I'll leave that to the hands of other masochistic bastards on YouTube. Why is at least you can access CQC from the ship now? Can you? Okay, I didn't know that. Mind you, with the amount of times I play CQC, then Jim plays. Wonder if your commodities market appears on the nearby prices list. No, your fleet carrier is completely outside of, the economy or the security state or whatever of any system you're in. So, yeah, it won't have any effect on the commodity market prices or or quantities or anything like that. One other thing, I can't remember if I mentioned it earlier or not. Your fleet carrier cannot jump into any permit systems, whether you've got the permit or not. So you won't be jumping to Sol or Shinrata Desra or Alioth or Ashenar, none of the permit systems. So that's something else that's a limitation. That's a limitation I don't mind actually, because I think that will be something I can easily live with. I've no problem with not being able to go to permit systems. Or EDDB or in our... Oh, so you're thinking... Oh, right, okay, so you mean will my commodities appear on Inara? I doubt it. I mean, that's kind of... I think the people who run Inara and EDDB are going to have a lot of work trying to update it so that it will show those prices. So, yeah, I very much doubt it. And of course, again, that's the other problem with selling stuff or buying stuff on a fleet carrier. Most players, I fully admit, I'm one of them. If I've got, you know, like low temperature diamonds, the first thing I do is look on Inara and look at the best place to sell. So I'll just go somewhere like that. It might appear there if you use the ED market connector. Actually, yeah, that's the point. It may do. I don't use it though, so. So well, there we go. Anyway, this has been going on for quite long enough. That's the fleet carriers. Aren't they great? Right, so that's this stream done with then. Those of you who are able to sit through it from start to finish, you have my sympathies. I can't believe my system didn't do its shutdown problem at all during this thing, so I think I've dodged the bullet there. Yeah, there we go. So that is this one done, and I haven't got a fucking clue when the next live stream will be. But there are some more videos coming along, including, say, if I can get this 4-wing player. Haven't heard a burp though. Oh, that was earlier on. There was one. So yeah, I'm afraid you missed out there. Watch the playback. It will be worth it. But yeah. So if I can get this 4-player wing sorted out, then yeah, I'll certainly do that as a video. And I do have some more Commodore 64 and Amiga, you know, retro reviews coming along as well. So yeah, it's business as usual, and hopefully I'll have had my computer problems sorted out relatively soon, so that means I will definitely be getting the retro reviews back underway, you know, full steam ahead, shall we say. So that's it then. Yeah, wasn't that a load of fun? Right, now go away.